Hello, Merry Meet. It's Rowan. I know I'm like super fast because it was like one, two, three. It's going to pause for a second while I invite folks. So, welcome, Candace. Welcome, welcome. So, tonight is spiritual panel. This is open panel. It is a spiritual safe place. So, if you do want to jump up on panel, please feel free to request and I'll let you up. Our topic tonight is retrogrades. And I thought about this because I've noticed like a lot of people sometimes have a hard time with the retrogrades, and we have a lot of retrogrades going on right now. We've got Mercury in retrograde, we've got Saturn and Neptune and Pluto all in retrograde. So it's kind of like a big balancing act. And if we're not really in tune with ourselves and our chakras and our aura and our environment, it can be really hard. And I've just kind of noticed a lot of imbalance in people like around. So I thought, wow, this would be really great because we can talk about like what these retrogrades do and then how to balance them out. So very excited for tonight's topic. Again, it is a spiritual safe place, and I want to thank everybody for joining. And please remember to give me some hearts so that more people know that when I'm live. And so I'm gonna kind of just jump in just a little bit. So a while ago, the topics, we went into all of the planets associated with our astrology. And there we go. Hey, Bryn.
Speaking of astrology,
Right? I I have had so like I've been like, and it's been for like over a week, like dealing with people with the retrogrades, And I was like, there are so many people that don't understand how to make sure that they're balanced. I mean, I've seen people screaming and crying, like massive, like emotions. And it's okay to express yourself, but it's like when it's like you're bringing that on others, we got to get balanced.
yeah. So this spiritual panel is about retrograde for dummies, or something like that.
Yeah, basically.
Okie dokie.
since 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 we've got Mercury, Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto all in retrograde. Now Mercury's going to be done pretty soon. I mean, we've got so we've got maybe 4 days left for Mercury in retrograde, I think.
About there, yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's going to be back in November. So, I mean, it is like, it is helpful. And some people don't understand it. Like, I worked with somebody and she's like, oh, yeah, when Mercury grows in retrograde, I just want to stay in my bed and not go anywhere. And you don't have to do that. You just have to learn what you need to do to balance.
Yeah, and that's like the whole thing was like, when Mercury's retrograde, oh, you better not be making any big deals. You better not be making any kind of like swift decisions. You better be careful on how you're speaking your language and how you're writing your sentences. Easy.
Yes.
Easy there.
Well, the funny thing is like, when we sold our house, like we knew we were closing and Mercury was in retrograde, but when we made the initial agreement and the move out date, it was before Mercury was in retrograde. And I said, oh, we're moving during Mercury in retrograde. And my husband's like, is that bad? I'm like, no, because we made the decision before. And I'm like, and I also know how to balance it. But it was a big decision. And so those you don't want to, you do want to be careful. We did fine though. So, yes.
Hmm. Well, let's see here. When we talk about the retrograde now, well, because there is many ways of looking at the retrograde, because you have, for example, the Western way, which is usually when somebody has a retrograde planet in their placements. Stereotypically, it's seen as, oh, that's intense, and that's stereotypically bad. No. Well, in the Vedic way, it is known as a planet becoming a Valkur. And Valkur is Sanskrit for bendable, pliable, flexible, able to be twisted. So it can be more malleable. So the planet, depending on which planet it is, of course, the significance of it is more, let's just say, instead of it having like a firm like foundation, it's now like silly putty. It's like it's adaptable. It's you can twist it a little bit. You can make it into different shapes. While direct, not so much. So, good example being Mercury retrograde. Now, when you have a planet in your placements that is retrograde at birth, whenever that planet is direct, it's going to feel like, wait a minute, this just feels odd to me. But then when that planet goes retrograde in the transit, for you, it's going to be like, okay, this is normal. Then everybody else is going like, because that's just how your signature was at the time of the birth. But then again, depending on which planet it is, you also have to take a look. Yeah, we're going to get a little technical here. Depending on what the planet is, you have to see what signs that planet rules and which houses it's ruling for you, because those houses where the signs it rules are going to be always impacted whenever that planet goes retrograde for you. So for example, for me, I have Saturn retrograde in the chart. So for me, the old geezer's like, you know what? I'm back in my youth. Okay, everybody do whatever the heck you want. I don't care. I'm just gonna go over here and just mind my business. Go ahead, do your stupidity. I ain't gonna stop you. So when it's retrograde in the transit, okay, this is normal for me. I feel like I got a love tap. But when it goes direct, it's like, oh, whoa. But since for me, I have an Aquarius rising and a Capricorn in the 12th house, the themes related to the 12th house and my ascendant, the subconscious and then the physical, are always going to be impacted whenever Saturn goes retrograde. So that is like, well, talk about having a big subconscious to the back of the head. If that kind of gives like a little bit of an easy peasy start.
Yes, I think that's a great start. And understand, like, I think that's one thing, like even when we talked about each of the planets, like it helps us to understand how we are as people and then dealing with other people. The problem is like a lot of times, like we might not know who our cashier at the grocery store, what their signs are. And we might be like, ooh, they're giving off like this energy, right? But we know how we can deal with them. So I am just going to point out Mercury is in retrograde, and right now it is in Leo. Saturn is in retrograde. It's in Aries and Pisces. Heavy duty there. I always feel like, yeah, it's like the most emotional of the water signs, and then kind of like, I mean, I'm an Aries, but let's face it, ooh, okay, Saturn. Saturn's like, ha ha.
Oh, you think you're hot stuff? Well, how about this? Oh, I broke me hip. Get call 911.
Exactly. And then Neptune is in Aries. So we've got like, so we're really dealing with like one very, very emotional sign and then three fire signs. And then Pluto is in Aquarius. So And so, it's crazy right now, but it's okay. So I'm going to start with Mercury, and then I'm just going to kind of give a couple things, Brent, and then if you want to like add on to Mercury, that is great. And again, Mercury is going to be over soon. And like I said, I worked with somebody who literally was so scared of Mercury in retrograde. She did not want to leave her house. She just wanted to sleep in her bed. And I'm like, it's not that bad. You know, I do know though that like some people get really cranky and ornery during Mercury in retrograde. And so again, there's lots of factors in it. So with Mercury in retrograde, I think one of the biggest things is to be very mindful of potential miscommunication. So it might be you miscommunicating or somebody mistaking what you have said. I know I've actually had that happen a couple times in the last week, where I'm like, oh, wait, let's take a step back. This is what I was meaning. So miscommunication is and if you think about it, it's probably been going on a little bit. So sometimes we have to just be very clear with our communication. Mercury can be disruptive, but you can do things like back up your data. Sometimes you'll have technological issues, and you want to avoid major changes a lot of the time during Mercury in retrograde. And I know I literally just moved across the country during Mercury in retrograde, and I was not scared of it because I knew that this was a good change. And actually I'm loving it. So, but typically you do want to like kind of go, ooh, like this is a big change. Like would I like I fell from Mercury into the pool.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you jump in and then it's like, oops, I didn't have a mechanic look at this vehicle and there's something wrong with it. Or
Yep,
like
you
you
got
buy
a
a
lemon
house and you
vehicle.
didn't notice that there's a crack in the foundation. Yes. So it can happen in Mercury in retrograde because like you're gonna get excited. So like you do want to be careful with those. So yeah, Bren, thoughts with Mercury in retrograde, like is some of the things you need to be full of.
So, my tips with Mercury in retrograde. Now, again, depending wherever it is, here goes retrograde. Mercury in your placements, and then the signs of Gemini and Virgo are going to be affected. And wherever Mercury is in the transit is going to be affected. So, say for an example, if you have Mercury in, let's just go off the wall with it. Mercury in Pisces, where he's pissed off. And he's direct in this person's chart. Okay, kinkerdoodle. But in the transit, Mercury's in Leo and it's retrograde. So this Mercury is direct in Pisces for this person. And now they're just, wait a minute. Huh? What? Because now, for them, they're 6 places away is where Mercury in the transit's at. So their day-to-day routine, their enemies may be more prone to either one, becoming more confused. They may be over boastful. But they also got to be aware that if they try to be really loud and obnoxious against their enemies, it can backfire on them. Significant other or spouse figure, or the people that they interact with, they may become really hypercritical of them. But then when we take a look 3 places back from Virgo, so then we have the 1, then the 2, then the 3. So then that would be, okay, it's 1, 2. So in their home and their sense of security, they may be feeling, I can't think in my home. I can't even do my skill set in my home right now. So I can't connect with anybody one-on-one in my home. I can't even write anything in my home. So that becomes affected. So, okay, so what can we do to make this little obnoxious little guy stop making a big hot mess? Oh, simple. you can do things as, for an example, wearing things such as specific crystals and gemstones. Specifically, you would want to primarily, based on the Vedic texts, you would want to have a piece of emerald, and these specific carat, the weight, and the specific metal for, like, say, if you're getting a specific ring for remedial purposes. If you're going about that route, I highly, most definitely suggest, and by suggest mean please do this, get the guidance of somebody who has a lot of practice and knowledge of providing like specific remedial measures using crystals and gemstones, because there is a process, there's a weight system, there's all these little specifics you have to do to make sure everything's all nice, prepared, and everything can go woozy kinkerdoodle. Because in some remedial measures, you can easily, without even realizing it, you can okay, I got this blue sapphire and this silver banded ring, and it's this many carats. I bet your Saturn's just going to be happy. The heck are you doing? That's the wrong amount of carat in it. Then it harms you. So, if we're going to be using specific gemstones, crystals, what have you, that you can wear, since Mercury primarily represents the hands, the fingers, the phalanges, your arms, your shoulders, your lungs, and also the intestinal tract. Well, it's a little bit difficult to put a ring or some bling on your intestines, so we're going to have to think a little bit of a different way of going about that. So, well, you can wear a ring, a bracelet. You can wear, here, if these stones would be so kind just to sit still. Thank you, there you go. You can wear pieces of crystal, such as, flip it already. You could have, you could have green jade. And this is some good green jade. And green aventurine. Amazonite. This is probably, if not one of the best stones for Gemini, Amazonite. This one is green amethyst. And this little guy, this is also green jade. But this is like legitimate green jade. This little thing. So you would want to make either a mixture of green jade, but if we're going to be really focusing on the aspect of communication and calming the mind, I would suggest having green jade with some, I would say, blue lace agate or blue aventurine. Green aventurine and blue aventurine. So you have the Mercurian, then you have the blue aventurine for the mental. So that perfectly balances it out.
Sodalite's a good one too.
Ah, yes, the sodalite.
Yeah.
Yes, the sodalite.
A lot of people don't realize sodalite's like a little magic.
Yes, it's like it's like soda in a rock.
Yes.
What? And even also, again, when I say this stone, it sounds good, but be very careful with it. No, I'm not going to be saying a certain one. Moldavite. No, not that one. Serpentine. Because serpentine will get you out, shed the skin. And Mercury, having the staff of crud. It's the staff of Ophelius or something like that. It has the two snakes on it. That is linked to Mercury for the serpentine. And serpents represent medicinal uses. But again, be very careful with serpentine because it'll make you slither out of your shell. You may be thinking, I wasn't prepared for this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, serpentine is a very great stone to work with. And I do love your because like I never thought of it that way, but it is. It's like it is like slithering out of your skin, shedding what you don't need anymore. And it will open up your communication. But again, Mercury in retrograde, we've got people who are going to take sometimes what we say as miscommunication. So yeah, we do need to be careful with that. So I want to thank everybody. Thank you, everybody who's given the hearts, and thank you for the gifts. Always appreciated, never expected. Tonight's spiritual panel, we're talking about the retrogrades. We're just kind of giving a high overview. And I came up with the topic just because I've seen a lot of people struggling with the retrogrades. And especially since we've got Mercury, Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto in a retrograde. Welcome, Azrael. How are you?
Evening, Rowan, and good evening, Bren. Uh, I'm doing good. I could be doing better. It's exhausted, long day, just wrapping it up. Trying to commute myself out of the city here. Body's aching, but it's a pleasure to see you. How are you? How you been in settling down over there?
I am fabulous. It is so nice to walk outside and not have humidity. so, and it's great being on top of the mountain. It is really windy. My hair's kind of like foofy today because it was windy, but I also love not having lion mane hair from the humidity. So that's always nice. But yes, I'm loving it. Oh, you guys are going to really appreciate this. So we were at the farmer's market, and I don't know who here in town came up with this sign, but it said, interested in yoga. It said, start by bending over and picking up your dog's poop. I'm seriously, best sign I've seen in a very, very long time. So
Hilarious.
it
Yeah.
is, it is absolutely hilarious. I mean, kudos to whoever in Evanston decided to put that up, because that is a hilarious, hilarious sign. So, Azrael, have you noticed, like, since we've been in these retrogrades, have you noticed any craziness with people that you're like dealing with, or any weird energy? And like, there's a beautiful piece of serpentine.
Actually, this is a piece of Nevadan turquoise, and that's another stone of Mercury. Nevadan turquoise.
Oh,
Actually, turquoise in general.
okay. It looks pretty close to serpentine.
But yep, it is
It looks like
Nevadan turquoise.
one of those little eggs. I don't know what they're called.
Whoa, wait a minute. Looking at it, it kind of looks
Oh,
like
like,
Stonehenge. I do see.
oh, oh yeah, with the black, yeah.
Wow.
Wow. Or are you thinking robin eggs, Azrael? Because like as soon as you
Yeah.
said that,
Yes. The
yeah,
robin eggs.
because I
Yes.
think it's the robin eggs or the bluish. Yeah, I think, or maybe they're
Yeah.
blue jays. I think it's robin eggs.
Oh yeah, I've noticed a lot out here in the world, because I'm always dealing with people in the public, and I've noticed a lot of people are so self-centered, like not that they're egotistical, but it seems like they're in a rush, like worried about something, like you can feel that they're concerned, like they need to get it done, like it's all about them, and not in a egotistical way, but it's like they are becoming more aware that it's up to them to be responsible for what they're doing. So it's been a lot of like panicking. I've noticed it, a lot of inconsiderate, but I don't think it's because they're doing it deliberately. It's just I think people are being focused on point A to point B, getting to where they need to get because they're scared. They're scared of the unknown. So that's what I'm noticing.
Yeah, and actually, that's like a really good point. Because of the fact that we've got so many retrogrades, it's like it is really shifting energy. And if I could say anything, it's so important as we grow spiritually to connect and ground ourselves and make sure we keep our chakras open. And then it's like these retrogrades won't affect us as much. And then if you find yourself being off balance, you can go, okay, Mercury, Saturn, Neptune, Pluto. What's being thrown by the universe at me, and what do I need to do to balance myself? Because if we smile, like if we smile at somebody, a smile is contagious, right? And so everybody's gonna smile. If we like yell, everybody's gonna be cranky and ornery. And so we don't want to spread cranky and orneriness, right? We want to spread happiness and joy.
And that's something that I caught because just out here I'm a people's a watcher. I watch people because I have to, making sure nobody jumps in front of me. But I've noticed that people are watching me, like to see what my action's gonna be, and it seems like they want to cling on to what I'm gonna do, and it's not like I'm doing anything spectacular, but it seems like people are also observing, okay, so what, lead what you're going to do. And I see that a lot also, a lot of individuals, I'm driving, I could park, and then everybody parks and waiting for my next step, so it's kind of strange. But if if anybody, is here, be more observant of your surroundings, and you will witness what I'm talking about. Yes.
Yes, most definitely.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to just say it right now. I see you, Cupcake. Don't you even be thinking. Watching you.
Watching you.
It's like, I'm watching you, watch me, watch you.
Yeah, but
And
more
this is
like
actually
watching.
this is actually see in sign language.
We see
I always
from
I would
places
always with my
above.
kids I'd always like with my kids I'd be like, I'm watching. So all right, so let's jump to Saturn in retrograde. So I'm just going to give a little bit. So Saturn is, Saturn's just a character. Bren has the best character voice for Saturn. But this is a time for us to do a personal introspective review on how we structure our life, our responsibilities, and our limitations. And what kind of is happening as we're in like the Saturn retrograde, like if you've changed like the structure in your life, you're going to feel like everything's falling apart potentially, or it's causing you stress that you didn't foresee. Maybe it's making you feel like you're taking on more responsibility than you should, or less responsibility. Maybe you're feeling unappreciated. And you're really fighting the boundaries of your limitations. And sometimes maybe it's like boundaries with other people. And so Saturn really, like with this retrograde, it's that time to take that introspective look, especially if you feel like somebody's crossing your boundaries, because we can't change them. And the way they take this, any of this retrograde energy, we can't change them. All we can do is change the way we react. So Bren, your thoughts on the Saturn with retrograde?
Oh boy, here we go. Get the walking stick. Okay, me being drunk. Well, as everybody knows, I hate the sun. Stupid flaming ball of fire. Yeah, everybody thinks you think you're hot shit over there. Oh, praise the flaming king who thinks he's hot. Oh, gosh, she flames too much. Flame. So, in the Vedic text, Saturn, also known as Shani, he has a strong aversion and detestment to his father, Surya, which is the sun. And in the Vedic tradition, in the Vedic system, Saturn, being the last physical planet that can be seen with the human eye without any kind of support, he is the planet that is the most defiant, the most rebellious. And with that, he retrogrades the longest and the most. So he retrogrades the longest, and he prefers to be going and pushing against the desire of the sun, the king. So Saturn retrograde is one of the common retrogrades to have. It's common. And like what I mentioned earlier about in the Vedic, the planet becomes what's known as Valkyr, meaning it is flexible, it's pliable, it could be twisted, it could be bended a little bit. So now you're probably putting two and two together thinking, but wait a minute. Saturn is an old geezer. He can't be flexible. He can't be doing anything that's like what's that game called? Is it Twister?
Twister, are you thinking?
Yeah. You're thinking like, but how the heck can that old geezer play Twister? Well, because retrogradation is now, their significance is becoming flexible. And depending on if it's going stationed, retrograde, and then stationing after retrograde, and then stationed, then direct, that changes it also. But usually when we have Saturn in that position of being Valkyr or flexible retrograde, his qualities are more lenient. So as we know with Saturn is the old geezer that says, well, congrats, you just got yourself some tushy whooping for your stupidity. Now you could see him coming at it like, I'll let this slide one time, kid, but do it again, you're going to have rosy cheeks and not the ones on your face. Don't do it again. So, what you can see with somebody with Saturn retrograde, well, number one, usually people that have Saturn retrograde in some way, shape, or form have some form of asthma or respiratory challenge. So they can get winded easily. And they also have this capacity to either push themselves over their own limit or not even get anywhere close to their limit. So it can be an overextension of their capacity, or they don't even push it that far either. And they do also have the risk of potentially taking on so much extra work that's not asked of them or required of them, and they tend to not do what they were expected to do, but they take on all the other things too. And then they get this feeling of, how come I'm not being appreciated? Well, you're taking on all this extra work and you're doing it great, but you had to do this instead. I'm not being appreciated. So it's that focus going in the wrong direction. But they're putting out a lot of extra work, which is, of course, is appreciated, but what they need to focus on is not what's getting focused on. So in the transit, when you see Saturn go retrograde, you can see people most of the time. Now, again, this is if you don't have a Saturn retrograde in your chart, and if it's direct, you can sometimes have this challenge of understanding where the limits are. You may be thinking, oh, I don't got no limits now. Hold my wine glass. Well, hold on. The signs of Aquarius and Capricorn are being affected. So wherever they're sitting at, they become affected. And wherever Saturn's at in your chart, it becomes affected. And based on the transit where he's at, that also gets affected. So the best way to handle our favorite old geezer from playing golf with your head, there's many ways. Of course, if you're going to be wanting to go about it the Vedic way with the crystals and gemstones, the primary number one stone for Saturn is the blue sapphire. But hold on. When it comes to using crystals and gemstones, specifically blue sapphire, for remedial measures, it is so highly advised, and I cannot say this enough. Make sure, if you're going to go that route, you have a professional that excels in it with crystals and gemstones for remedial purposes. Make sure you go to them. Make sure that you take their advice and you follow exactly what they tell you, because you need to have the 100% accuracy of the right cut of the stone, the right carat of the stone, the right metal for the ring itself, and it has to be specifically blessed in a certain manner with certain things. So it has all these parameters that have to be met. And if one little thing is off with blue sapphire, well, here comes Saturn saying, that looks nice, but one problem though. You forgot the weight. It's off by that one little smidge of a carat. Nope. Fix it. That's how touchy it can be. So in that regard, a good way of combating that is doing a remedy that is called the figure 8 walk. What you do, you take something that, like, say, is something really close and important to you. You put it right in the center somewhere. And what you do is you go and make a figure 8 around it. So you start in the center with it. Then you go in either way you want to go in. You go down, come around, come back to it, go up, then back around, and return back to it. You make an 8. And you do that 8 times, but here's the twist. You have to go 1 foot, then the next foot, very slowly, and take your time. And when you do that, you're showing Saturn that this goal that I'm focused on, what I want, I'm willing to take as much time as needed and make every step I take count. And if you do it quick, it ain't gonna do anything. It's like, think of it like you're becoming Saturn himself. And you're probably thinking, oh, I get to become him? Good, I get to whack people. No. You start in the center, you take your first step, 1. Then you take your next step, 2. Then 3. Then you go all the way around. When you get back to the center, that is 1. You go around it again, very slow, 2. Repeat. And then when you get to the last step for 8, that's when you're finished. And I will say you'll be very surprised how potent that will do. And I've done that many times. And also, walking specifically, if you go out and if you walk during preferably 8 p.m. on Saturday night, and again, hold the pump the brakes. If you're in a place where it is dangerous to go walking at 8 o'clock at night, please don't do it. Just stay at home and do the figure 8 walk instead. So, be smart with it. And that's what I got for... Wait, actually, hold on. Other stones you can use, but again, be very careful with blue sapphire. Other stones you can use are, for an example, good old lapis lazuli. I call it lapis because it sounds easier and funnier. Any dark...
It sounds like it's your friend.
Good old Lappy. It's like Lappy, come home. Lassie, come home. Oh, gosh. Okay, you have... Okay, blue sapphire, lapis lazuli, sodalite, blue aventurine. I mean, you can get away with blue jade. What's another one? Any of the obsidians, specifically, if you can, silver sheen would be the most ideal. You can also go with onyx. Shungite is a big one. You can also go with any of the dark purple stones like stishenshite, sugilite, amethyst. Hematite, because hematite is very heavy and Saturn's like down. Black tourmaline. Any reflective type of material, like a mirror, that's also Saturn, because again, his ring system, whenever you throw at him, he goes, nope, get it away from me. I don't want your influence. Get it away. And he deflects it back. And let's see, what else is there? I've said onyx already, smoky quartz, shadow quartz. You could even get away with blizzard stone. That's a bit of a more of a rarer one. I said stishenshite already. I've said hematite already. I've said blue aventurine. Oh, I know there's one more, and I'm trying to remember. Come on, which one is it?
Are you thinking like blue quartz?
Yep, that was it. Yep, took it right out of my head. I just couldn't find the right name for it.
Sometimes we're on the same wavelength a lot of the time.
Actually, it was this crap. Blue kyanite. Blue kyanite.
Yes, that's a beautiful one. Yeah.
Yeah, blue kyanite's that one that's like, okay, BS on you, off. And black kyanite too.
Yeah, the kyanites are wonderful stones to work with. Absolutely. I do want to point out with hematite, it will suck up all of the negative energy and hold it. So with hematite, what I found it really, really likes is it likes to be cleansed a lot. And your hematite's going to last longer and be your friend longer if you're cleansing it. So what I like to do with hematite is I like to use sage, palo santo, or mugwort. And I will tell you, it loves mugwort, which is considered black sage. So I usually will light some mugwort and just kind of go around the whole stone with it. And then I have a little wooden bowl. I like the wood bowls because they're more natural, and I fill it with salt, and then I will actually rest it in there, and then I'll pull it out and give it Reiki. And I will tell you, the hematite stones last longer, because if you've ever had a hematite bracelet or a hematite ring, or even just a hematite that you keep in your pocket, and you're like, oh my gosh, it cracked and broke. Well, yeah, because it sucked in all this negative energy and it couldn't suck in anymore. So just kind of like a little tip and trick with hematite. And all your crystals love to be cleansed. It's just you can't go months without a bath.
And one more thing, speaking about hematite too, if you happen to have a pacemaker, please be very careful having hematite around you because it can cause some damage to it. Just putting that out there. Be very aware.
Yes, thank you for doing that, Brent, because yes, be very, very careful with that. Yes, definitely. All right. I love how much knowledge there is here. This is such a great panel. Azriel, any thoughts on Saturn in retrograde?
Well, what Brent said, there was a lot of information there. I'm like at awe and enjoying it. But I do have a question now regarding the sapphire. Now, what if our birthstone is sapphire? Does that affect the way that we utilize sapphire? When it comes to the Saturn retrograde and utilizing it? Because go ahead.
Let's see. That's for September, right?
Yes, it's the following month because we are in August, and yeah. So I just wanted to know, would that even become a factor?
I would say now, well, because how you have birthstones being assigned to a month, that's more, and again, this is my perspective, that's more of a Western thing, but however, though, blue sapphire, when it's linked to September, the sign of Virgo, that is actually a fringe, that's actually a supportive energy blend together because Virgo is the exaltation, the Motricona for Mercury, and for Mercury sees Saturn as a friendly planet, so that is compatible for that. But when you're going to be using a sapphire ring, like here, let me turn on the camera. Okay, come on. Turn on. So when you're having a sapphire ring like so, specifically this has to be a certain cut, a certain weight, and the band has to be a certain metal. This is silver, and I can't remember exactly the carat weight for this ring, but then again I have it on the other side too. But specifically, you would really want to just wear it for the blue sapphire ring whenever you're going through either Saturn return, Sadasati, when you have Saturn in the sign before, the same sign of, and the sign after the moon. Because that is wearing these is helping to have Saturn not play whack-a-mole with your moon as harsh as it could have. This kind of helps Saturn be like, oh, okay, since you're having my wife, because his wife is actually the blue sapphire, since you have my wife on your middle finger, I won't hit you as hard, but that doesn't mean I ain't gonna whack you still. So, and that's why having the precise weight, the precise cut, the precise band, and everything being precise, it's showing Saturn that you're paying so much attention to detail to his wife, the sapphire, that you're willing to be on perfect point in, well, taking care of his wife. That's the best way I can put it. So he sees that and he honors that, so his effect gets lessened. Doesn't mean he ain't still gonna whack you, but it won't be as much as it could be. And that answers the question.
Could be a knuckle to the head.
Yep, it's like, okay, instead of the shiny stick, you get a bonk.
Yeah. Well, I'm just curious because that and that is very good. Thank you for sharing that because I do walk around. I have 3 hematite rings, and I got Shugnite in my pocket. As a stone. With me right now. But I was just curious. As far as the sapphire, because you were Asuli, Lapidus, and the various blue stones, and you did get into the purple stones. So just wanted to know. That's some good information.
And yes, Shungite is a good stone. Have that on you 24/7 because it's like the bottom feeder of energy. Negative energy, positive.
Yeah,
I get that one with me. So just curious, as I ask you that question, a question because I'm up here in the panel with you. But those that are listening to us, how would they be able to ask questions or even get some insight like that from you?
Well, easy peasy. Just send moi a message, or if you like, I do have on me link in bio thing that you can have a form to fill out if you want to have a personal one-on-one with me regarding anything. If I don't know it, then I'll just say, well, I don't know that. I got nothing. But you never know till you ask. And yeah, we'll go from there.
Thank you. I'm just asking because we don't know who's down there listening to us, and we usually get new individuals. And I see Jet. I'm not sure. Hey, Jet, welcome. But it's a good thing, and this could be a podcast one day. Right, Rowan?
Yes, it probably could be. Especially with the knowledge base that we have. Because we all have like similar but different educations in the spiritual community. So we actually like kind of ride the wave together, so to speak.
Together, and it's good, because sometimes we need somebody to not overlook our shoulders, but guide us the right way. And what I've known of the Saturn retrograde, as far as what I've known, was always self-reflection. It was a moment of like myself, what responsibilities have I am working on, and am I doing what I'm supposed to? But I don't have it in depth like as you describe it, Bren. With the whole shebang, because you put it in good perspective. And I like it because I'm at awe because I'm visualizing all this, and as I visualize it, it's a metaphor, and this actually sits well with the individual that is listening, because now you use it as an example where everything relates, and comes together.
Yeah, it does. And I love that you brought that up because I know sometimes, like, I'll even sometimes listen to podcasts and get nervous to ask questions. Or if, like, I'm on a TikTok live and I'm like, oh, I missed while they were talking about it and I didn't ask my question. Because sometimes I'll be listening while I'm like cooking dinner or something. And please feel free to reach out to us. I do post all of my lives on my Patreon and on my YouTube. And please feel free to make sure you follow Azriel, Bren, and myself, because we'll gladly answer any questions. And if like you ask me and I don't know it, but I'm like, oh, I know Azriel knows it, I'll get you in touch with him. Or if I'm like, oh, Bren definitely knows this, I'll get you in touch. So and don't feel shy about asking questions, but I know sometimes it is a little nerve-wracking when we're live to like ask a question, but know that you're in a spiritual safe place. All right, let's jump to Neptune, unless anybody has anything else to for Saturn in retrograde.
The only wrong question is the one that's not asked. That's the only bad question, the one that's not asked. That's that.
Agree. I brought that up a lot because I have to remind myself. I have so many questions, as a kid coming up, even through my adulthood, where I don't know if you guys ever felt this way, where you think in something that you want to ask, and the opportunity slips, and you assume they heard you, and they heard you, with that question. But the opportunity goes, and you have to, if you have something to ask, it's good to ask, because there'll be a moment where it might slip away and you forget about it.
Yep. Yeah, yes. And Azrael always points out, take notes. I take notes all the time whenever I'm listening, unless I'm making dinner. But I take notes because sometimes like I'll go back and reflect on like something that Bryn said or Azrael said, and I'll be like, oh my gosh, like how did I not see that? Or it might like inspire me to do research for something else. So take notes. You never know what will come of what you learn with us. All right, we're going to jump to Neptune in retrograde because again, we've got 4 planets in retrograde right now. So Neptune is it's a little different. And so we've got there is a big mix going on here because Neptune is saying it's a time to confront your reality. So sometimes basically Neptune is kind of like saying don't be distorted here. Sometimes we might think, oh, no one likes me. Guess what? No, that's not the case. You have people that love you in your life. And so Neptune's really saying, confront your reality. really take a look at it, especially, and I'm using that as an example because I mean, sometimes we do feel like, oh, no one likes me, right? I hope that's something, maybe, or maybe I'm the only one that's ever felt that way. And like, people always like us. So even if we might feel a little lonely or something, but this is a time to say, okay, wait a minute. Let me take a step back. Why am I feeling this way? And what is the true reality of the situation? And it kind of, that can play with so many different like examples. Maybe you're feeling overwhelmed with work and you're feeling like you're too overwhelmed and you can't get anything done. But the reality is you're actually getting things done. There was a lot, and you just need to take that big deep breath and say, I can only do what I can do. And so that's really what we need to do, because Neptune's saying, hey, wake up, honey. It's okay. It's also a time of heightened intuition and spirituality. So this is like a great time, especially if you're here watching right now or if you're up on panel. We're growing right now. And I will say my intuition has been really heightened during this retrograde. I've picked up on things that normally, like sometimes I like really subtle little things that I've been picking up on. So that's like a blessing, really. I mean, it's not anything to be shy of. So it's like a really great time, especially if you want to heighten your intuition and your spirituality. Take advantage of it right now, because Neptune's saying, I'm going to help you. And this is our time to use this part of the retrograde to be able to grow and expand ourselves. So that's just my little tidbit on Neptune and retrograde. So Bren, I'm going to let you add to this, because we know you have some beautiful information to share.
All righty, Neptune. Well, let's define Neptune. What is Neptune? Well, think of Neptune as like the court sorceress. She wants to woo you. Just relax, dear. Have a sip of this potion. It's not a love potion. Have a sip. Oh, whoa. What is in this? Oh, just a little belladonna. That's not too much. Just relax. Chill with it. Let go. Ah, okay. I'm in fantasy woozy woo land. Then when you come to... Oh, no. Oh, wrong lever! Oh, it happens every time with the belladonna mix. So, Neptune, direct, can have that potential of woozy-wooing you and making you having to be very careful on how you handle your imagination and your illusions, and as well as being spiritually in tuned. But when Neptune is retrograde, or Valkyr, so the imagination becomes flexible, or malleable, or adaptable, or pliable. So with that in mind, let's think here. So if you have your imagination, your ability to, for example, let's say daydream or go into a different realm of awareness, like Pisces, and have a different perspective, the ability to manipulate or bend your imagination is much easier. But hold on. In the transit, wherever Neptune's at, that specifically, for wherever that sign is at, where Neptune is in the retrograde, that part of the imagination becomes flexible. Huh? Look at it this way. So for moi, I have Aries in my third house. Here we have Neptune going, you know what, I'm going to be retrograde. I'm going to be kind of a bit more flexible with all of the stuff I represent in Aries. So my talents, my abilities, my sense of honing my skills, if I'm starting to be incorporating my ability to write and be more honing of my skills to better myself, if I imagine myself how I would be after honing said skills, that becomes so much easier for me to bend my imagination to have it happen. But now say, for an example, if you have this happen in your sixth house, and Aries is there, and you have retrograde Neptune in the transit happening. So now, with your imagination, you can manipulate and bend your imagination with your enemies in it. Oh, I have enemies? Well, here, I'm going to turn them into a pretzel. Now they're stuck. See? Boom. But again, you got to be really careful, though. Because if you're not really completely all in with that process, because going into that state of awareness to do that kind of a work, you have to be aware of what you're doing, and you have to make sure that you're covering all your bases, especially the tushy, so that way nothing comes around and goes, oh.
Yeah, it's as we talk about all these retrogrades going on right now, it's a lot. This is why we're getting so many different mixed emotions and energies from ourselves and from people around us. Azriel, anything you want to add about Neptune in retrograde?
So I don't know if I want to add, but I just want to know. So how does Neptune retrograde and Saturn retrograde together a combination? It because it's starting to get complex here because as far as the Neptune retrograde, like Brent said about that illusion, the illusion is now being exposed, so you have to be careful. Let's say like you're in a relationship and you gave the illusion that you're one way, and then all of a sudden, with this retrograde, the Neptune one, your partner's going to see right through all the lies and fibs that you were singing. But including with the Saturn, things are starting to get very complex here.
Yes. Yeah, they are getting really complex because we have like each of these retrogrades almost counteract the other. And like when we look at Saturn, you're looking at that introspective review, but Neptune's like, hey, smack across the face. Join reality, so we are getting, it's like a really big eye opener. And that's why sometimes it's like really hard to handle when we have all of these retrogrades. And, usually like when it's just Mercury in retrograde, we see some strange behavior, but this is why, like, literally, I was like, this is why this is a good topic, because I've seen some extremely bizarre things going on. And I know it's not normal. Bren, what do you want to add about this? Because it is very complex now.
So, in the transit currently, we have, of course, Saturn and Neptune going the wrong way. But here's the thing, though. Neptune has woozy-wooed Saturn. And Saturn's all like, what? What the heck's going on here? I can't see anything. Oh, that hoochie Neptune better not be doing some kind of BS again. Oh, no, don't worry. I'm taking good care of him. I'm hearing stupid people. Where the heck are you, you crazy lady? You and your witchy-woo crap. Oh, he's always like this. But the thing is that Saturn being in Aries, pissed off, and retrograde, he's going to be acting like he's in Libra, because that extreme of debilitation gets reversed. So Saturn is trying to act like, okay, I'm back in my youth. Wait a minute. How come I can't see anything? What the heck's the deal? Oh, Neptune is you again, isn't it? So what if it's me doing it? You need to be realistic. What? What did you say to me, woman? What did you say? You're telling me the planet that's all about the 3D realistic, tangible, touchy stuff, the thing that's like, face it, you're telling me to be realistic? Well, what about you? What do? Oh, you got a point there. Well, no shit. Now get this fog off me, damn it. But in Aries, you can see potentially people be at a lot of risk of being, let's see, how am I going to put this? Being blinded by delusion, and they become vigilantes. You can see that a lot. They think, oh, I'm doing what's right. Hold on, but the thing is that you may think it's right, but you're in Delulu land, and now you're just impeding on somebody's being and their space, and you're thinking you're doing what's best for them, but now you're trespassing. Uh-oh.
Yeah, and it is hard because like Saturn's in Aries, and it is hard because like Saturn's in Aries and Pisces. So then we've got Neptune in Aries, and Aries, they're leaders, and they want to fight for what's right. Like, I thought it was a beautiful example. Anything else, Asper?
Yeah. Well, the thing about it, it gets complicated also because we got the new moon. I mean, the full moon also happening. All this right now. So it's like a lot of strange energy happening. From different aspects, and seeing all these retrogrades. It's just making it very, very. And I see now why the question of why individuals are acting kind of strange out here.
Yeah, yeah, because full moon energy, and I didn't even like throw that in there, but full moon energy, the full moon moves water, and we're what is it? I think 80% water. A large portion of our body has. A lot of people have a hard time with full moon. And I'd be like, oh, it must be a full moon because I could feel like a change within myself. So we've got all of these things going on right now. Fun times. The cosmos are testing us. All right, we're going to jump to our final retrograde, which is Pluto in retrograde. And so Pluto is very introspective and transformative. So we've already got kind of a little bit of that going on with Saturn. So this is a good time to help you release those past traumas or memories or issue to get rid of. It's time to reclaim your power. It's a time of transformation and growth. So we talked about how convoluted and how hard all of this is. Yeah, we're throwing Pluto and retrograde in there too, making yet again the cosmos are really testing us right now. Bren, your thoughts? Retro.
Yep, and whatever. Sitting with Pluto, they're kind of like being the one that has to take care of the runt. So good example. Saturn with Pluto. Oh God, why do I gotta be with this little obnoxious brat? Hi, Saturn. What do you want, you little brat? I'm just saying hi. Why do you have big hips? What are you, fat? I'll have you know, you little dweeb. Fat? I'll have you know, you little dweeb. Maybe you that's it. Get back over here. Hope you're never gonna get me. You're lucky I'm a bastard, otherwise I'd play golf with you. But Pluto is energy. I mean, this is the best way I can describe it. Think of having a younger sibling that's way younger than you, and they are always wanting to hang out with you because they, well, think big brother or big sister, they're so cool. I want to hang out with them all the time, and you're just like, oh, go away. Long and behold, your mother and father are saying, okay, we're gonna go like over the weekend on vacation, whatever. So you gotta take care of Pluto here. Do I have to? Yep, you're gonna have to. Yay! No, fine. But you decide to go down to like the skate park, and unfortunately, you gotta bring Pluto with you. So while you're down there hanging out with your friends, whatever, they're going up and down the half pipe. Pluto gets this marvelous idea. Up, loses his footing on the board, goes,
Bren?
Who? I just heard my name. What? Huh? Huh.
Yeah, I didn't either. I think we lost Bren.
No. Huh.
Yeah, I didn't either. I think we lost Bren.
No, oh, I'm right here. I'm
There
so
he is. There he is.
Pluto.
Yeah, I think we lost you for a second. We heard what? And
Yeah, and I was like, Pluto, quit it. See? This is Pluto. Little nasty. Rude. Anyway. So Pluto. Ugh. Think of now Pluto going up the half pipe. He loses his footing. And he goes, lands head first on the pavement. And now he's going, ah! And now you're running to Pluto saying, stop yelling, stop yelling, stop yelling, stop yelling. And he just keeps screaming. It is that sudden shock, that sudden, oh Lord, that comes out of nowhere, and it's intense. And you know you're going to be hearing it when you get back home with mother and father. But that's like the energy of Pluto. It comes out of nowhere, and you...
I'm hoping it's not my internet. Oh, there's Bren.
Weird. Mercury, quit it. Sheesh. Mercury, you're getting fired this morning. Anyway. Ugh. So, when Pluto... Another thing about Pluto, too. Pluto also has this movement with Neptune, where Pluto cuts in front of Neptune and goes, I'm in front of you now, Neptune. But then it goes back. So Pluto can also be that representation of being a little selfish. So when Pluto is in retrograde, all that like extreme outward, well, now goes inward. So internally you might be thinking, okay, we gotta throw... So internally you might be thinking, okay, we gotta throw... Okay, that's taken care of. Sounds easier said than done, but doing that self-reflection to have that transformation, it's a doozy. Make sure you have medical insurance just to be safe and a waiver sign, just to be sure.
Yes, Pluto is the daredevil. But again, it's transformation and growth. So, and sometimes we grow in a different way. Azrael, anything you want to add?
It's awesome how Brent, puts everything to perspective, at awe, and yeah, like with everything that's going on and all this energy and so forth and so forth, I could say that, right now is the moment where we need to go within ourselves because, what I understand that Pluto is a representation of our spiritual, our spiritual desire. So as it goes through retrograde, it's the moment where we need to bring out through retrograde, it's the moment where we need to bring out the hidden stuff, the hidden stuff that maybe it's been secrets and stuff like that. So it's good to bring it to the surface and asked a little while ago, wait a minute, all these planets are in retrograde and it makes everything complex. But I think, it's all by design because now we can actually bring out, those things that we know we need to talk about, whether it's changing who we are as the individual, let's say grading or even um, changing, the looks, the desire, like yourself, Rowan, you moved to a new city. So, that's how the retrograde works. It's a time of changing, like the retrograde. I'm going one way and things ain't working for me. Now it's time for me to admit it to myself and bring it forth. And, and that's the truth. The truth is that I've been lying to myself and maybe I'm not happy where I'm at right now. And this retrograde of Pluto is letting me know that, what I thought was serving me is not no longer. And I have to bring the truth out of me. And that's what this retrograde in Pluto is what I'm seeing. Is that correct? I'm not sure, but that's how I feel it is.
Yeah, for me personally, that I've done and like I was guided by the cosmos. And so, yeah, like we don't need to be scared of retrogrades, though. I know a lot of people are. So I'm going to kind of talk about retrograde. It's time for me definitely to look at myself. And I try to balance my chakras and balance my personal birth chart, my zodiac birth chart, especially during the retrogrades, because it is really important to see, where am I? Where's my Mercury? Where's my Saturn? Where's my Neptune and Pluto? How is this reacting with me? And I like to give myself Reiki, and I also like to do crystal healing. These are really great times for that. And a lot of these, it was like, check yourself introspectively, like really evaluate yourself. And that is really important for us. And you know, like with Mercury in retrograde, I'm noticing a lot of miscommunication. Sometimes like I'm the one witnessing the miscommunication between people. And sometimes it's, you know, I've said something, someone has miscommunicated, or vice versa. I took something really weird where I'm like, wait, did they just say that? So we do need to like kind of take that step back, analyze everything, and keep yourself balanced. And we have so many beautiful ways we can do this. We can do this with herbs. Personally, one of my favorites is mugwort. I love burning mugwort. It is very cleansing. It's considered black sage, and it is really, really strong. Camphor is another one that's really beautiful to use. So, you know, you can burn those herbs or in incense form, and that actually really can help. And making sure your chakras are aligned, giving yourself Reiki if you happen to be a Reiki practitioner, or getting a Reiki session from a Reiki. Go do some yoga. You know, bend over, pick up the dog poop. Sorry, I'm gonna have to that was just the funniest sign. But we have a lot of beautiful things. And meditation is always really helpful, especially if any of the retrogrades are making you feel off. Meditate, definitely. And sometimes it's a simple 5-minute mindful meditation can help. So those are just some of my tips and tricks. Bren, anything that you want to add on tips and tricks to balance and survive the retrogrades?
Well, the biggest thing to help you combat the retrograde, number one, is just being aware of it. If when you're aware of it, you know that, okay, so I have over here, we have Neptune going the wrong way. So now the illusions may be either extended or non-existent. So I got to be aware that I might be woozy-wooed more, or my ability to use my intuitive side may be not as good or as potent as it needs to be. So I need to adapt to that. And if you have that awareness, you're able to adapt beautifully to it. That's probably the best tip I can give.
I love that. Thank you, Bren. Azriel, your thoughts and how you balance yourself during this time?
Staying calm and collect. For starters, because there's so much energy. It's using discernment and understanding what is going on. So, in a time like this, exactly what I did on here on the panel is really not interact much, because the way that Brent said it was plentiful. So now it's me to decipher and get that information. So a time like this is when you don't have the answers, don't be scared to ask somebody, because somebody out there might have the answers, and it helps you in a situation like this, because we can overwhelm ourselves by trying to find the answers ourselves, and in actuality, this is the moment where what friends or even a love partner is for. This is a time when we can actually find somebody that we can lean on and depend on and be straightforward, because all this retrograde is about truth, transformation, self-reflection. So, in leading in that aspects is telling me exactly what I need to do, as you asked me the question, is be in a neutral. In other words, don't act on panic, on action, but get the basics, understand how to survive a moment like this when we have 4 planets in retrograde, because it could be unfamiliar waters for many of us. And if it's unfamiliar water for us, we can panic, and panic can cause a lot of drama and stuff like that. So I just relax and just, how do you say, pace it out. In other words, it's my moment for me to crawl instead of trying to walk. Get familiar with my surroundings and know exactly what I'm looking for, what serves me. I'm looking for, what serves me.
Beautiful. Thank you, Azrael. I appreciate both you and Bren have such beautiful insight. And it is true. We do need to stay calm, because when we panic, that's I said at the beginning. I had that coworker that whenever it's a change in the first, tools we have out there in the spiritual community that we can use to balance ourselves. All right. Well, I want to thank everybody who has joined us tonight for our spiritual panel. I'm very excited for Sunday. Sunday will be chapter 9 on the Spiral Dance by Starhawk, and that is at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then we'll be live again on Tuesday Tarot, and we will be doing the Lover's card. So we do a little bit at the beginning. Sometimes we're about an hour long. I bet that a Lover's card will be a while. So we do like a high overview of we're doing the major arcana now, and we'll do the minor arcana. So you'll get 78 weeks. And then after that, we're doing 1 card reading. So join us for that, especially if you have a question that you're like, I need to ask this question and get a reading. We'd love to have you join us on Tuesday. So I'm live here on this channel, and usually Bren and Azrael join every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so we're gonna do last minute thoughts first. So Bren, any last minute thoughts?
When in doubt, just know everything's all going to plan. Everything is going according to plan. Even when you're thinking, how the heck is this part of the script? Nod your head and go with it. But everything's gone mad. Go with it, nod your head and go with it. You don't understand, everything's going kablooky. Just nod your head and go with it. You'll be surprised.
Azrael, any last minute thoughts?
Yeah, last minute thoughts. One step at a time. I'm actually feeling kind of very not myself right now. Is one step at a time, and remember, the only race you're ever gonna lose is the race you're not aware of. And what I mean by that, and this is a download. I'm just saying what I'm saying. Is when things around you start to get loud, and just an example, through this retrograde, don't excite yourself and worry about it. In other words, breathe. The greatest gift that we have is the breath of life, and remind yourself in your breaths that everything's going to be fine. And that's all I want to add. Thank you. Thank you, Rowan, and thank you, Brent, for both of you guys for the knowledge and allowing me to be here with you guys. Keep shining.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you. And I want to just remind everybody, please make sure you're following all of us so you know when we go live. And everybody posts amazing stuff. So you don't want to miss out on that, because it can help you grow spiritually. Bren and Azrael are amazing. Thank you as always for joining me on panel. I so appreciate it, and all the input both of you give. It's absolutely wonderful. So now we're going to say goodbyes. Feel free, if you're going live or anything like that, to share that. And then if you have like a goodbye message. So Bren.
And a 1 and a 2. Toodaloo, so long, au revoir, ciao, line, hasta la vista. Really? Austin Powers? Okay. Toodaloo, boogaloo, au revoir, arrivederci, sayonara.
I'll end it with a song too. Here we go. It's such a good feeling, a very good feeling, a feeling to know that I'll be back when the day is new, and I'll have more ideas for you, and you'll have things you'll want to talk about, and I will too. Bye.
Woo! I love it. That's awesome. You never know what song you'll get when you join us here. So, I'm just gonna do from one of the shows, one of the movies. Show me the way to go home. I'm tired and I wanna go to bed.
Never gonna
I'm
stop
not really
right
tired.
there because we don't want TikTok to go, what was that?
TikTok's like, what are these people doing? So.
An ad.
So as always, thank you everybody for joining us. A big thank you to the panel. A big thank you to all of everybody in the chat. As always, merry meet, merry part, bright blessings, and namaste.